The news cycle around Notre Dame has felt unusually crowded lately, layered with speculation, frustration, nostalgia, and uncertainty, all unfolding at once in a way that reflects how deeply intertwined football, identity, and expectation remain in South Bend. At the center of it all, once again, is Marcus Freeman, a head coach whose name continues to surface in connection with the New York Giants head coaching vacancy, a rumor stream that refuses to quiet and instead grows louder with each passing report. What began as distant NFL curiosity has evolved into a full-blown conversation about timing, leverage, ambition, and stability, forcing Notre Dame fans to confront questions they would rather not ask while also navigating unrelated but equally emotional developments across the athletic department. The latest reports suggesting Freeman is among the top candidates for the Giants job have reignited a familiar tension. On one hand, it feels like validation. Freeman's success at Notre Dame, his steady 43-12 record since taking over the program, and his reputation as a modern leader have clearly reached beyond the college game. NFL teams searching for cultural resets are drawn to his composure, communication skills, and ability to connect with players in an era where trust matters as much as tactics. On the other hand, the idea of Freeman leaving now feels deeply unsettling to a fan base that believes the program is still ascending, not plateauing. Notre Dame has momentum, continuity, and belief, all of which feel fragile when NFL rumors creep too close. The Giants' situation itself complicates the discussion. New York is not simply another NFL opening. It is one of the league's most demanding markets, layered with history, expectation, and relentless scrutiny. The franchise has struggled to establish long-term stability, cycling through head coaches and philosophies with little sustained success. For some observers, that instability makes the job appealing, a blank slate with resources and visibility. For others, it represents a warning sign, a reminder that even highly regarded coaches can find themselves trapped by circumstances beyond their control. When evaluating whether the Giants are a good situation for Freeman, the answer depends on perspective. The roster has talent, but also holes. The front office is still searching for alignment. Ownership patience has limits. Success would require not just leadership, but time, and time is rarely afforded generously in New York. That reality has fueled another line of speculation that the Giants' rumors are less about an imminent departure and more about leverage. In college football, NFL interest often functions as an accelerant in contract negotiations, a way to reaffirm value and secure long-term commitment. Freeman is already under contract through 2030, with an annual salary reported around $9 million, but extensions are rarely just about money. They are about resources, autonomy, and reassurance. The mere presence of NFL interest strengthens Freeman's position within Notre Dame's administration, reinforcing the idea that he is not only the right coach, but one worth protecting aggressively. Whether or not Freeman is using the Giants as leverage, the optics alone serve as a reminder that Notre Dame cannot afford complacency when it comes to retaining him. Athletic director Pete Bevilacqua's comments on Freeman's future have reflected that understanding. While careful not to inflame speculation, Bevilacqua has spoken in ways that signal confidence rather than concern. His tone suggests alignment, trust, and a shared vision, the kind of language administrators use when they believe their coach is invested and valued. There has been no sense of panic, no defensive posturing, only an emphasis on stability and belief in the direction of the program. That matters, because in moments like these, silence or ambiguity can speak louder than words. Notre Dame's leadership appears keenly aware that Freeman is not just a coach, but a symbol of continuity in an era defined by volatility. At the same time, the Freeman Giants narrative has unfolded alongside another emotional development that has stirred longtime supporters, the apparent ending of the Notre Dame USC football series. For generations, that rivalry has served as one of the sport's defining traditions, a cultural touchstone that transcends standings and schedules. The idea that it could be paused or dissolved feels like a fracture in the sport's soul, another casualty of conference realignment and television economics. Fans who grew up marking their calendars around that matchup are now grappling with the reality that tradition no longer guarantees permanence. In a moment where Freeman's future is being questioned externally, the potential loss of USC as an annual opponent has amplified the sense that college football itself is shifting beneath Notre Dame's feet. That sense of instability extends beyond football. Notre Dame men's basketball has struggled to find footing, and the recent loss to Purdue-Fort Wayne served as a particularly painful reminder of how far the program feels from relevance. Under head coach Micah Shrewsbury, expectations were cautious but hopeful, rooted in the belief that patience and culture building could restore competitiveness. Losses like this one, however, test that patience. Fans are not simply reacting to a single result, but to a pattern of inconsistency that has persisted across seasons. Questions about Shrewsbury's future have begun to surface, not because of one night, but because of an accumulation of frustration in a program that has long lived in football's shadow and yearns for clarity. The contrast between football and basketball at Notre Dame has felt never sharper. Freeman's program exudes stability, direction, and belief, even amid playoff snubs and external noise. Men's basketball, by contrast, feels stuck in a cycle of rebuilding without visible progress, asking fans to invest emotionally without offering tangible reassurance. That disparity has intensified conversations about resource allocation, expectations, and the broader identity of Notre Dame athletics. When football thrives, it becomes the emotional anchor. When basketball falters, it becomes another reminder of how fragile momentum can be across an entire department. Adding to the complexity is the national conversation surrounding access and inclusion in college football's evolving hierarchy. A national reporter's comment suggesting that Notre Dame fans were overly obsessed with Tulane and James Madison being included in broader playoff discussions stirred a nerve, touching on deeper anxieties about perception and relevance. Notre Dame occupies a unique space in college football, independent yet deeply traditional, powerful yet perpetually scrutinized. When smaller programs are celebrated for breaking through, some Notre Dame fans interpret it as a threat, not because they resent success elsewhere, but because it highlights how subjective and shifting the sport's power structures have become. All of these threads converge into a single, uneasy moment. Freeman's name tied to the Giants forces reflection on what Notre Dame has, what it could lose, and what it must protect. The USC rivalry's uncertain future reminds fans that tradition is no longer sacred by default. The men's basketball struggles expose gaps in competitive identity, and the national discourse around playoff access reinforces how quickly narratives can change. None of these stories exist in isolation. They feed into each other, shaping how fans experience the present and imagine the future. Through it all, Freeman has remained publicly composed, focused on his team, and careful not to engage in speculation. That restraint is part of what makes him attractive to both college administrators and NFL executives. He understands the power of silence, the importance of stability, and the cost of distraction. Whether or not the Giants' rumors ever materialize into something concrete, they underscore a simple truth. Marcus Freeman has reached a point in his career where he is no longer just Notre Dame's coach. He is a national figure, a leader whose decisions carry weight across multiple levels of the sport. For Notre Dame, the challenge now is not merely to fend off NFL interest, but to continue building an environment so compelling that leaving feels unnecessary. That means alignment between administration and coaching staff. It means honoring tradition while adapting to change. It means recognizing that stability, once achieved, must be actively maintained. The noise surrounding Freeman, the Giants,
basketball struggles, and rivalry realignment all point to a broader truth about modern college athletics. Nothing stands still. Everything is interconnected, and leadership, more than ever, is about navigating uncertainty without losing identity. In that sense, this moment may ultimately serve as a stress test rather than a breaking point. If Freeman stays, it will reinforce Notre Dame's belief that it can still be a destination, not a stepping stone. If he leaves, it will force the program to confront hard questions about continuity and direction. Either way, the conversations happening now reveal how much is at stake, not just in wins and losses, but in the emotional fabric of a university that measures itself by more than just